what makes a good leader? Have you had experience of good leaders, or have you had experience of bad leaders? What is your experience? So, first of all, the qualities of a good leader. A good leader needs to be empathic. A good leader needs to be confident. A good leader needs to be able to lead people that are subordinate, which means under them, the people that she is responsible for. These are the people that are under them in the hierarchy, and they're looking for, in many ways, a role model, for somebody that they can look up to, somebody that can inspire them. So we have another expression here, the inspirational leader, somebody who can well motivate people. So here we have another adjective to describe a motivating leader, a motivational speaker. We might hear this often with regard to business English, a keynote speaker at a conference or something, an inspirational speaker, somebody who can inspire people, somebody who can get their message across in a good way. So you notice as I'm speaking, I'm trying to bring in other phrasal verbs. So we have the formal word as a motivational and inspiring speaker. And then we're using phrasal verbs to express these same ideas, but in a more colloquial, a more everyday speaking. So a good speaker can get their message across well. A good speaker can bring ideas over well, can spark off new ideas in people's minds. A good leader needs to be able to put themselves in other people's shoes, to have empathy, to be able to see the world through the eyes of another person. What else? What makes a bad leader? Bad leader, let's look at some adjectives. Authoritarian, domineering, overly controlling. So domineering means to dominate. They dominate the people that are under them. They might be pedantic. They might be overly pedantic, controlling, micromanaging down to the nitty-gritty of every little point. They might need to control every aspect of your work. If you've experienced this can be suffocating. You feel like you can't breathe because somebody is controlling every aspect of your work. An authoritarian leader. So again, the positive qualities of confidence, motivational ability, the ability to inspire. In this regard, these are negative. When we're looking at the negative qualities of these positive adjectives, we're looking at, instead of confidence, we're looking at arrogance. So an arrogant leader, perhaps a leader who is patronizing, somebody who speaks down to the people under them, that they have a sense of superiority, that they feel that they are better than other people. So this is what we mean by patronizing. To speak down to other people means to speak to them as if they are not as valuable as we are. Perhaps to speak to them as like children. This is a way we use patronizing. To patronize people is to speak to them as if they have less worth than we have. And so it sounds like we are speaking to children. And we see this often as a critique of people who are patronizing. We could also say the word pretentious, to pretend to be a leader, or to pretend to be a leader when you do not have the qualities of a leader, is to be pretentious. And this is especially, we see this especially with where we have managers or leaders who don't really inspire the trust and confidence of the people under them. Then you have all kinds of rumors and subgroups developing where people are then speaking badly of the person at the top. And we see then that the leader is not inspiring any confidence. There may be many reasons for this. Maybe he is not encouraging enough. Maybe he is not supportive enough. Maybe they are not compassionate enough. Maybe they're not empathic enough. So you see, I'm giving all these examples. You can write these down as we go along, or look in the captions as we go along. Now, what kinds of, often in leadership, we're then looking at questions of self-knowledge. How aware are we of the qualities that we embody, that we have developed in ourselves? How aware are we of these things? Here we're speaking of self-knowledge, an awareness of, on the one hand, our strengths, on the other hand, our weaknesses. So what strengths does a leader need? And what weaknesses do they need to overcome? These are some words that often get mixed up, especially in German, where we're talking about Bewusstsein as consciousness. In English, when we speak about self-consciousness, this means to be embarrassed. So to be self-conscious means to be embarrassed about ourselves. We are conscious too much of ourself. So self-consciousness is then a form of embarrassment. Whereas self-knowledge is to know ourselves. So Selbsterkenntnis in German. What are the others? Confidence, we've already said. But to feel good about yourself is to have a good sense of self-esteem. To value yourself highly means your self-esteem is high. To not value yourself is to mean that your self-esteem is low. Anything else? So, leadership. What makes a good leader? What makes not such a good leader? So I think you can think of many examples of good leaders and poor leaders, bad leaders, poor leaders, C1, poor. And maybe you could, I don't know, if you want to interact with this video, you can write down maybe some qualities. You can put them in the comments if you like. Remember to subscribe. You can put them in the comments underneath. What's your experience? What have your experiences been of good leaders and bad leaders? And then I would encourage you also to use some of the vocabulary that we had today. So you could say, for example, for me, my first boss was very domineering, very micromanaging. She quite suffocating of me and my work, so didn't give me any freedom and was always very pedantic, controlling every little thing that I did and not giving me any free rein. There's a nice expression. Giving me free rein to rein, as in the reins of a horse. And me as a horse was not allowed to be free to move as I wanted to move. So in business, we can speak about a manager who does not give enough free rein to the employees underneath them. Anyway, if you want, you can go back and listen to these. It's only about 10 minutes. You can listen to the video, make notes, look at the captions, and then any questions, put them in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed that. It's just a quick one for today. And any questions, we'll also do other videos and we'll be coming back to this soon. Thanks very much. All the best. Ciao, ciao.